bullet journal is simply a kind of note-taking framework that helps you track your progress, habits, goals, daily tasks, and many more. Also, you can use it for different kinds of reminders. It is basically a toolbox including different tools that help you to manage, track, and analyze key aspects of your life. The first thing you want to set up is the monthly layout. But before that, we should keep these 2 pages completely blank, and you will find out why by the end of this video. First of all, I should write days of the month from beginning all the way up to the end. But suppose that today is March 11, so I start from 11 all the way up to 31. By the way, I use dotted bullet journal, but it's not that much important. You can use other notebooks as well. Then in front of each number, I can write special events, meetings, due date, any vitamin I need to take in this month, and these kinds of stuff so as to not forget them. Also, some people prefer tracking their habits in the monthly layout, so we can write each of them in one column and track them as well. After the monthly layout, we want to set up the weekly layout. In the first page of the week, I prefer pre-planning my week. So I try to draw a cross like this, which gives me 4 quadrants. Each quadrant, except the last one, represents one of my first 3 goals. The last one represents some personal development related stuff like reading books and so on. So now you should write the main deliverables, not tasks, for each of your goals that you tend to do by the end of this week. Also, if you want, you can transfer the events you have written in the monthly layout to your weekly layout. In the next page, I prefer tracking my habits, so here are the 4 habits that I want to track by the time of recording this video. But above that, I want to write different definitions of done for each habit. If you want to learn more about the system I'm using for tracking my habits and how to calculate the scores and so on, you can watch this video after watching the current video. And you should keep this page blank for different reports, charts, and performance trackers of the week. For example, what percentage of your time throughout the week has been spent for each of your goals and these kinds of stuff. Then we are ready to go to the next page and start daily layout. At the top of the page, I write the date and the day of the week. Then if you want to pre-plan your day the night before or early in the morning, you can write your tasks and pre-plan your day. And in pre-planning phase, don't forget going to the events of the week section and adding those to your to-do list. But if you don't want to pre-plan your day, don't worry, you can skip this part. Then you can write the tasks you do throughout the day and the time you spend on them. And also, you can define customized bullets in order to differentiate different stuff. For example, to me, this bullet means a special event that happened in that day. And this bullet means an idea that pops into my mind. But you can use your own customized bullets. Also, there are some other kinds of bullets which are suggested in the book Bullet Journal, which I myself don't use them. So as you can see, some days requires more space for writing, but some others requires less space. So I suggest not to divide your page into equal space parts for each day in advance. I suggest completing your daily layout as you pass the days of the week. The next part is the collections. I myself prefer to create my collections from the right side of the bullet journal. For example, I can create a collection for books that people have suggested me, a collection for my toolbox of success, a collection for my big picture of this year, and so on. You can define as many collections as you want. The next part is the index, and a lot of people make some common mistakes in the indexing section. Do you remember I've told you to keep 2 pages blank in the beginning of your bullet journal? Those were for the index. First of all, you should write the number of each page in the left bottom of each page. And for collections, because they are located in the right side of your bullet journal, I'm going to write the page numbers in the bottom right of the page. Note number 2. I don't write the page number of my monthly and weekly layouts. For example, I don't write week number 3, page 20, week number 8, page 50, and so on. Note number 3. If I want to refer to one of my collections, I simply write, for example, suggested books, page R2. It means page 2 from the right side of the bullet journal. Note number 4. Suppose that I have attended a seminar and I have written the notes of that seminar on a specific day of my bullet journal. So first of all, I would look at the page number. Then I would go to the index and simply write, for example, productivity seminar, page L15. But now let's talk about global referencing, which is very important, especially in the long run. Generally Generally speaking, I think you will finish a bullet journal every 3 months. So after some time, you will have a couple of bullet journals. So how are you going to reference different notes in different bullet journals? Well, what I do is to simply name each bullet journal using this format: year, -B, and a number. For example, 2023-B1 means the first bullet journal in 2023. So if I want to reference to page L40 of my 2022 B3 bullet journal, I would write something like this. R means reference 2022 B3 L40. You can see so far the setup was minimal without any fancy drawing and things like that, and I highly suggest you to keep it minimal as well. Otherwise, chances are you quit sticking to the habit of using bullet journal. The last video got 11 likes. Can you guys help to at least double it in this video? Liking the video is a huge support of the channel.